legislation, Resolution 1324. Is there a second?
Motion to amend the agenda as well. I would like for the minutes for February the 4th and the 21st to be moved to the work session because we haven't had an opportunity to read and edit them.
Okay, so let us, well, I withdraw my motion. So I move that we adopt tonight's agenda.
I have some more motions.
Okay, council member.
Okay, so I would also like to move agenda resolution 12-24 to the work session because we haven't had an opportunity to discuss it. And resolution 14-24, move that to the work session because we haven't had a chance to
Well,
discuss
council
it.
member, before you continue, let me just let you know that items that are new on the agenda, there are several items on the agenda that don't have urgency that are just for review this evening. And there are items that are urgent that we'll ask council to vote on. So resolution 12-24 is one of the items we're not asking to vote for tonight.
Okay, but it's on the agenda to do what?
It's on the agenda to discuss.
Okay. So that one and some of the other ones are on the agenda to discuss. Because we have a long agenda tonight.
Resolution 16-24 is a discussion. Resolution 3-24, 14-24, 15 -24. So there's several items on the agenda that we won't be voting on tonight.
But we will be discussing.
Yes.
So that's my point. I was saying that during the work session, we normally discuss these long resolutions, so we don't have to stay so late with all these stuff that's on the agenda.
Well, there is a couple of them that actually need to be discussed because they're urgent. And I don't think we should wait until the work session to begin discussion on them, although we won't vote on them tonight.
We're going to discuss but not vote. Is that what you're saying? On the urgent ones that you deem urgent?
Yes. So I'll let you know which ones they are. Resolution 03-24, we're gonna have planning to have limited discussion on, as well as 14-24. Those will be very limited. Resolution 15-24 affects the town's retirement policy. That's one we'll discuss.
See, that's the point I'm making is that we haven't had an opportunity to even look at some of these things that we will be discussing. That we,
Well,
I suggest
Councilmember,
that
you'd
we
like to
vote
make the motion, and if there's someone that seconds, then I guess we'll amend the agenda to remove those items.
I would like to make a motion to remove those items that need to be discussed that we haven't had a chance to the work session.
Is there a second?
Second, but with more clarity, there's so many.
Right, exactly.
Because I just also, I just received the package, so I don't. So which require immediate and which can be.
Right, so my suggestion was to move resolution 24-24, 12-24, 14-24, 15-24, and 16-24.
Okay.
To the work session, because we haven't had
12, 24, 14, and 15.
12, 14, 15, and 16. And I don't know whether anyone else wants it. So those are the ones I would like to move to the work session.
Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded that we amend tonight's agenda, striking resolutions 12-24, 13-24, 14-24, 15-24, and 16-24. No, 13 as well. I was making that motion initially, yes. Is there a second? I'm sorry, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Yes.
So we're making decisions of which one should be tabled and which one shouldn't. But are any of these, and I'm going to ask the interim town administrator,
We voted.
well, we don't know if any of
Are you
these,
opposed, Councilmember Kennedy?
well, we didn't have any type of discussion. We just had one person say, I would like to strike these three or postpone them.
We had a
And-
second from Councilmember Noel.
After it was determined which ones.
Okay, but y'all didn't ask if anybody else had any other input.
That's not my job. I'm not chairing.
Okay. So,
Would you like to offer another amendment, Councilmember Kennedy?
well, I would like to know if any of these that we are tabling, which I don't have a problem with, if they're not important. If they're time sensitive, then that's why I would, put it to the people who would know the answer to that.
To my knowledge, we are not tabling an item that's time sensitive. I'll reach out and ask, is there one related to 1524? Mr. O'Connor?
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 12-24, 14-24, 15-24 are all time sensitive.
You said 14-24?
12-24, 14-24, and 15-24. And I can explain why, and it's up to the council.
Well,
Mayor.
I just want an answer on 14-24. I looked at the item here and these funds don't have to be expended until 2025.
Right, it's not about the funds, it's more about the special pricing that's associated with the
Well,
vehicles.
Mr. O'Connor, the funds don't have to be expended until 2025. So I think at this time I deem that doesn't have to be voted on tonight. It's not going to be.
No, I understand that's the council's prerogative. I was just letting you know from the staff's perspective, the reason we were looking at it being urgent is
Mr.
because there was rebates.
Yes, Mr. O'Connor, is there another item that has urgency you can explain for me, sir?
12-24.
It needs to be voted on tonight.
Yes.
Could you explain to me why?
We have grant deadlines and it was supposed to be on the last agenda. However, it was not for discussion. And this grant is, all this paperwork needs to be submitted for the Vision Zero grant, which is due relatively early in April.
What's the date?
I think it's April 13th.
We have a meeting on April the 1st when we can discuss this item. Thank you.
It-
For resolution 15-24.
That resolution, we need to be able to at least have the discussion so it can be voted on in April, so we can get the paperwork to the state before the deadlines and which is before the end of the fiscal year, but there's extensive amount of paperwork and termination of the plan that needs to happen in the meantime. So I would say it is time sensitive. If it wants to get put off, staff will just have to compress the ability of switching things around if it's voted on.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, I will propose an additional amendment that I will propose we have the motion to amend the agenda was accepted by the council. I want to propose an additional amendment that we reintroduce resolution 15-24 due to its time sensitive nature. It affects the employees. We need to begin discussion on this item. Is there a second? I move that we amend the agenda, including item resolution 15-24.
Is this what time? Should have done. Because that was the one that was also asked to be tabled.
I didn't hear anything on resolution 16-24. Mr. O'Connor, Chief Reese is 16-24. What's the deadline on that? Do we need to vote tonight or discuss tonight?
I would at least discuss tonight, not to vote, sir.
Okay. Well, in that case, I move that we amend the agenda, keeping resolution 15-24 and 16-24 for discussion only. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda, re-adding resolution 15-24 and 16-24 for discussion only. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
I oppose.
The ayes have it. I move that we adopt tonight's agenda as amended.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt tonight's agenda as amended. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we will have Mr. Lindell Murphy, the Chairman of the Board of Elections, to read the election results. Good evening, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Murphy, if you could turn the mic on, just so audience can hear you at home.
Good afternoon. My name is Lindell Murphy. I'm the Chief Judge for the election for March the 20th, 2024. Mayor Liddy and the rest of the council members, these are the final results. Shanice Lillo, Ward 1, 19. Jonathan Kennedy, 2nd, Ward 2, 31. Paula Noble, Ward 3, 34. We had one write-in. The name was Hines. One absentee, 0 illegal votes, and a total of 85 people in Forest Heights voted March the 6th of 2024. That's the final results.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Councilmember Noble.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy and the Board of Elections. I had a question. How did you determine the date of the election?
The date of the election was overlooked by the election board, which I'm the chief judge of that. We did not look at the criteria before it was printed out to the public, and the candidates turned their votes and stuff in. It was an error on the by the rules and regulations by the election board.
Okay, so you didn't look at the chart?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. And on that comment, I would like to publicly state that the date for the election was incorrectly stated. It's supposed to occur on the second Wednesday of March. It occurred on the first Wednesday. This came to my attention after the election occurred. But in a review of the results and the conduct of the election, it was determined that turnout and notice was given sufficiently and that residents voiced their votes and that the election results have integrity and the individuals who ran for election and were elected are qualified for those offices. I'll add an additional note that I will be meeting personally with the election board to review the election board's responsibility regarding elections, regarding dates, regarding all conduct of the elections, to make sure we are following the charter and that we have established and follow the criteria that's provided in the charter going forward.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
All right.
I move that we ratify the results of the election. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we ratify the results of the election. All in favor? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
I oppose, and I have a question. What does ratification of the election mean?
Mr. Best, can you give us a 1-minute definition for ratification of the election?
approve after it occurred. Ratification.
Okay, the ayes have it. Motion passed. Next, we will have,
Will it be recorded of who the ayes were and who the noes were?
Madam Clerk? Yes.
Make sure mine. No.
Next, we will swear in the newly elected members. Councilmember Jonathan Kennedy, Councilmember Shanice Little, and Councilmember Paula Noble. Councilmember?
Yes, since I opposed it, I want to say this, that I will not be sworn in tonight because I will not put my hand on the Bible when the charter states clearly what it was. A mistake was made, and we don't know what would have occurred because all the dates were off, even the time to qualify to run. So everybody's calendar was off cycle. So for that reason, I'm going to step away. I can't swear in tonight.
Okay. Mr. Best, could you provide additional comment on the mistake, the impact, and the requirements of the council in a situation such as this?
Right. Two issues you're asking me to opine on is one, what's the repercussions of an elected council person not taking their seat? I'll start with that. If you don't take the oath of office and take your seat, you fail to qualify for office, there'll be a vacancy created. And that'll be a field in accordance with the charter. In terms of the election, the Supreme Court of Maryland has opined over the years, particularly in the landmark case of Dutton versus Tawes, that the modal requirements of an election, if they're challenged after the election occurs, and when I say modal requirements, I mean the methodology, process for conducting an election, the date, how you conduct it, how you give notice, modal requirements. If that's challenged or discovered after the election occurred, it's considered a directory, not a mandatory situation. If it's discovered before the election occurs, it's mandatory. In other words, election officials must follow the law stringently and strictly before the election. But if the problem occurs or the modal deficiency occurs after the election, it's simply guideline. It's a guidance. The High Court has determined that if there's no showing of fraud and the number of electors that show to the polls are reasonable, and I've done an analysis of several elections in the past, and I've deemed there's been an election in the past, a non-mayoral election, that had 86 or 90 votes. So it's pretty close to the number of votes polled in this election. And there's no one that's complained of fraud, of dishonesty, of malfeasance. It was an honest error, and it was available. It was information that was available for many other officials to check and question before the election occurred. Had it been caught before the election, town would have had no choice. Say it was caught the day before, the town would have had to reschedule on the appropriate day. But it's really the law of Maryland views it as harmless error if there's no fraud shown. So it would kind of thwart the will of the voters if you're elected to office and you decide not to take the oath and qualify for office. To be fully qualified for office, you have to take the oath. Otherwise, you vacate. If you vacate your position, it could really throw into question whether you can change your mind after you cause a vacancy. I suppose that this council could put off declaring a vacancy until the next meeting, and then, for example, Councilwoman Noble could change her mind and take the oath of office. You do not have to take the oath of office in public. You can take the oath of office in private. So if she changed her mind, and I would invite, and I've known Mayor Noble since 2004. I'd invite her to talk to me about this because I don't think it's the right move
Thank you.
to decline after you've been elected like that.
Thank you,
But-
Mr. Best.
I
All
have a
right.
question, I have a question for the attorney. When he said that there wasn't any malfeasance, false, or no one, probably, everyone got the right notice and the right opportunity to vote. But there were some complaints out on the Forest Heights website said, I'm a citizen saying, I didn't even know that there was an election. I didn't get the opportunity to vote. So it's not like everybody got the same opportunity. I don't know what was the reason, but it was on the Forest Heights website at the night of the election.
Well, Councilmember Brownson, in the charter, the requirement for posting the election is in a newsletter or a paper of circulation within the town. So the posting notification, as far as where it was sent, that requirement was satisfied. Thank you for your comment, though.
Ever it was sent for the wrong date. So
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Councilmember Noble, are you going to be sworn in tonight? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Councilmember Little a round of applause. She's been elected. Councilmember Little was previously appointed to the office of councilmember for Ward 1 after there was a vacancy following my becoming mayor of the town. So we're happy to see that she has been duly elected by the residents of the town, and at this time, we'll swear you in. Please raise your right hand. And Mom, is Mom here? Would you like to come forward and hold the Bible for your daughter this evening? If you could hold the Bible and stand here. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Shanice Little,
Do swear
do swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws
and support the Constitution and laws
thereof,
thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of
execute the office of
Town Council for the Town of Forest Heights
Town Council for the town of Forest Heights,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of this state.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you could please sign here.
You got me this time?
Thanks. And can you take a photograph?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. All right. We'll get this to you first.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Councilmember Kennedy. Now, Councilmember Kennedy is no stranger to the town of Forest Heights. Been elected many, many times before, and once again, residents attested to their faith in you to serve them on the town council. All right, would you like to hold the Bible? And you can stand there. Repeat after me. I state your name.
Jonathan Kennedy II,
Do swear that I will
do swear that I will
support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and the laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of
execute the office of
Town Council for the town of Forest Heights,
Town Council for the town of Forest Heights,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of this state.
Congratulations. You can take them all back. I'll have you sign. And I stab myself. One, two, three. Okay, next we will have a presentation by Ms. Quindella Fletcher with the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, the Upsilon Tau Omega chapter. Ms. Fletcher, good evening. You'll have 5 minutes to address council. Thank you for being here. I'd ask if you have a mobile device in the room, if you could please silence it. Good evening, Ms. Fletcher.
Good evening, Mayor Lilly, councilman, councilperson, to the citizens of Forest Heights. First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present. As stated, I am Quindella Fletcher, and I am currently the president of the Southern Prince George's County Community Charities, a 501(c) organization, and also the Upsilon Tau Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I'd like to provide you a brief amount of information about our 501(c). It was incorporated in July the 2nd, 1999, and we are proudly celebrating our 25th year of serving the Southern Prince George's County this year. Our vision is to support, with the support of partners and volunteers, to play a leading role in transforming the lives of the Southern Prince George's County, Maryland residents. Our values are generosity, kindness, honesty, integrity, respect, trust, and social responsibility. Our leadership consists of a board of 11 women from various backgrounds and career fields and an executive director. Many of those members are here tonight with me. Ladies, if you would please stand. In the 25 years since our existence, we have awarded scholarships annually, starting out with a mere $1,000 and last year awarding more than $25,000. We are targeted this spring to award an additional $25,000 to deserving students. We've partnered to extend our reach, including with the White Rose Foundation to stock a food pantry at Belmore Senior Apartments and with supporting organizations such as CAPA, the Coalition for the African Americans in the Performing Arts, Buffalo Soldiers, Dementia Friendly, and the Fort Washington Rehabilitation Center. Our 5-year goal is to obtain property to develop a community center for space to continue to provide our current services and to enhance those services. What we come to you in seeking a partnership for is our new signature program, POWER, Positive Opportunities with Engaging Resources for High School Young Women. The program's objective is to empower young high school women by providing opportunities to enhance their educational experiences, explore various fields of knowledge, and develop valuable skills. It has 7 key components, including workshops and seminars, mentoring programs, creating experiential learning opportunities, skill development, community engagement, online learning platforms, and annual conferences. We would like to partner with the city for this program and to help you with others that you have. For this particular program, our timeline includes April the 3rd, we would like to begin our recruitment process internally. May 15th, have an application and related processes completed. We will kick this program off on June the 15th of this year, announcing the program through various media outlets, and we will start collecting applications. July 31st is the application deadline, and we will have a welcome reception in August, which we would hope that you all would join us for. And then in September, we'll have our program up and running. What do we need from you? Surprise, surprise, we don't need your funding. We have funding for the POWER program. We have been fortunate enough to get a grant to cover the initial year and 2 subsequent years. What we need from the council and the city is to help us to recruit the young women who are in the 11th and 12th grade this coming school term and who have a need for mentors and have a need for mentors and other opportunities as I described earlier. We'd also like to partner and help you with initiatives that you have in place. As a part of this partnership, which will be with the Southern Prince George's County Community Charities, our sister arm of the sorority has programs that we feel will align very closely with programs that you have. Our sorority has an international initiative called the Youth Leadership Institute, which targets our middle school students. You have, Mayor Lilly, have a program that you're working on. Myself and one of our other board members was here this Saturday for your vision board work. This coming Saturday, we will also be showing up to help with the gardening effort. Our sorority side has an international initiative called Enhance Our Environment that will align nicely with that program. We see that there are some opportunities for synergy, and we look forward to a long and productive partnership with the city of Forest Heights. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. And to your sorority members who are here and to those who work with the nonprofit organization, did council have any questions for Ms. Fletcher? Okay, thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Hearing none, we will now move to public period. Is there anyone in the audience or online who wishes to speak during public period? If so, you'll have 2 minutes to provide comment. Is there anyone online who wishes to speak during public period at this time? Okay. Public period is now closed. Next, we will move into legislation. And the first item under legislation will be Resolution 03-24. This is a resolution of the mayor and town council of the town of Forest Heights to authorize and award a proposal and contract to install speed humps on Delaware Drive and Arapahoe Drive in the town of Forest Heights. This is introduced by Councilmember Jonathan Kennedy. In light of the budget challenges that the town of Forest Heights is currently facing, and in an effort to preserve liquidity, I move that we table resolution 03-24 into the first meeting of fiscal year 2025. It has been moved and seconded that we table resolution 03-24 until the first meeting of fiscal year 2025. Madam Clerk, can you give us a date for when that first meeting will be so we can know when to bring this piece of legislation back? Fiscal year 25. So first meeting after June 30th, 2024. The fiscal year begins July 1, 2024. What's the first meeting in July? It's July 1st? July 1st.
But you said July 3rd.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we table resolution 03-24 until July 1st, 2024. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we will move to resolution 15-24. This is a resolution to repeal and revise the town's retirement policy and generally relating to employee pension and benefits. This is introduced by myself, Mayor Lilly. We are not voting on this tonight. Is there a discussion on resolution 15-24? Could I have the staff members, either Chief Reese or Mr. O'Connor, to provide a brief overview of resolution 15-24?
Yes, sir. So Resolution 15-24 is a policy to repeal the employee pensions plan, which is a 457. So with that going forward is historically, the town had passed a resolution to move to the Maryland State Retirement. It is per their ordinance that they have to, we cannot contribute to a current retirement system. So this would make our retirement only employee only, to allow us to go through the time to spend with the state to do the evaluations for us. That will, in a nutshell, basically the town would not contribute to the employees' retirement fund and to allow the state to come in to do their evaluations. That's what will take place. We had this discussion last meeting as well.
Are there questions from council on resolution? I'll go with Councilmember Kennedy. I saw his hand first.
So for clarification, so they can't even come in to actually look at it until we actually have terminated the current one we're using?
So yes, that is, we're trying to submit the application. Obviously, this process is not a quick one. It will take at least 2 years because it has to go in front of the General Assembly. So the application is due now, but then they have to have time to do the evaluation. And we're trying to do things quicker than usual because we may have a slight chance to get in front of the next General Assembly, which will be January 2025. If we miss that deadline, we will have to wait to January 2026. Then if approved by the state, then it will go in effect that next fiscal year. But in order to get into the program, we cannot be actively contributing to another retirement, which is the Mission Square 457. So what this resolution would do is to give authorization to change our quarterly 6% that we currently do to only an employee contribution. And that will also allow us to, go through the states, because we're unable to use the money now to, and what it will also do is, if we do get the state retirement, it will retro back to this time that we would have been contributing anyway. Instead of contributing to the 457, those funds will go to the Maryland State Retirement, sir.
Okay, so the matching funds that the town would have contribute will get put into
Correct.
holding.
As
And
kind of like
then-
an escrow, if you
Okay,
will.
okay.
Yeah.
But does it normally take 2 years?
Well, we're trying to do so first. So the deadline, I believe, is from Mr. O'Connor is October 1st. We have to submit it, but we have to give them at least 4 to 5 months to do the evaluation. Once they do the evaluation, we then have to ask someone to sponsor us, maybe a senator, to put it on the General Assembly so they can vote on it to allow us to get into the state retirement. So if we don't make it in time for that deadline, obviously we'd have to wait till the next year.
Thank you.
Councilmember Brownson.
Yes, I have a question. If you repeal the 6% that the town is paying for the employees now, what will they have until the 457 plan is approved?
Well, to clarify, we currently have a 457 plan now.
Whatever plan, state plan.
So it would just be an employee-based contribution. It was still, the monies will still remain where it is now. But it would mainly be an employee-based contribution.
Okay, so where is this plan? Can we look at the plan that we trying to appeal and the one you're talking about going into?
The state plan, so I'm not sure if it's in here.
No, it's not.
So I can get that documentation for you.
Also, the plan that they are in now.
You would like
Can
to
we-
see?
Can we get a copy of that as well?
Okay.
And also, I have another question. Is it a requirement that employee have a retirement plan for their employees?
I'm not sure, Attorney Bass.
No.
No. So I mean, I believe that to encourage longevity, this is something that the employees would like. To be frank, a 457 is not an actual pension, it is a supplement retirement. So normally people will have a regular retirement and a 457 is a supplement.
Yeah, I would like to see the law that's if it can be found, because I thought that President Biden made it mandatory that companies that have over 20 employees have a retirement plan for them.
I'm not aware of something like that. If that's something recent, I believe you may be referring to the healthcare, the FMLA that was recently passed.
No, I'm not referring to that, but I think we need to look into this. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Can you explain what the benefit of going with the state is?
So the benefit will be because currently what we have in the 457 plan is we're giving it up to the market. It can go up, it can go down. There's no really set. It depends on what the current rates are. It's not really that you say that you're going to work 20 years, you're going to get 70% of your last 3 highest salary. That's kind of stuck in stone. You're really giving it up to just what the current rates is. I believe that the staff believes, because currently now some people lost money last year due to the current rate. So the money that they contributed, they lost. So the staff would like to get in something a little bit more stable. And they would like to stay here at the town of Forest Heights where they can, grow and serve the residents as they please. But something stable would be something better that the town, and I believe it's something close to what the town is already contributing to, that the state. Now, of course, the state retirement would be that it is a employee contribution mandatory, plus the employer has to do it mandatory as well. So it's really to make sure that's where you get your, stability from, because both have kind of an agreement to put into it. And you have less, I guess, you have less, I guess, out of the door. We have a revolving door with employees right now. Historically has been an employee for over 10 years here at the town. I've seen a lot of people go, and I hear what people say, and most of the time they want something a little bit more stable than what we currently offer.
Thank you, Chief Reese.
So,
Did you have a follow-up, Councilmember Kennedy?
yes. So you said the staff. So you've actually talked to all the employees of the town?
So this has been a long time coming. We've been asking for this probably, I know, since I've been here. I will let Mr. O'Connor say he has a little bit more detail, if you will, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. O'Connor?
Sure. Every single staff member, the majority being in the police department, where the most staff are, have concurred about the state retirement. One staff member does not want to deal with the state retirement, prefers the 457. So that's perfectly acceptable in the numbers for what the state requires for enrollment. And to answer the question, the portion of President Biden, that was the Retirement Security Act. Basically, it targets 401ks and the ability for taxes to be held differently and withdrawals from the 401k program. There's no mandatory retirements for businesses with employees of 20 more. That was done in October of 2023. The town currently does not have a retirement. They have a defined benefit plan. There's no time period or investment period related to when you can actually retire and receive benefits, unless if it's over 3 years, you can roll and you can pull the money out. There's a big difference between a defined benefit plan and an actual state retirement. So the other thing is what the chief was getting at was the volatility in the market related to the severe loss that some of the employees took and now we're going to see another recession. The security that is behind the state retirement system is backed by the entire state and all of those that are in the pool associated with it. It gives employees something to work towards, a vestment period, and a light at the end of the tunnel for the service that they've done. And in this instance, you have employees that are contributing into the system versus just the employer in tribute. There's some buy-in in the entire thing. And so I think those are the major differences. And on the timeline that the chief was talking to, it is legally required that we do not contribute to an employer-defined program. We can't even submit the application. If we are contributing, they will immediately reject the application. So in order to submit the application ahead of the deadline, so they can start in October with the audits that have to be done on all of the payroll, we need to not be contributing and be able to show that we are not contributing, because we have to actually provide that resolution since we already had a plan. So that's why it's a legal requirement of the retirement plan.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. If there's no further discussion on resolution
I have one more
15,
question.
Councilmember Brownson?
To Chief Reese, he said, he was saying earlier about the state plan. He said that it was mandatory that the employee contribute 3%. And not, or I think the employer contribute 3%. Is that what you said?
No, I didn't give a percentage. What is the employee?
Employer.
It depends on the plan that the state authorizes us to enter into. You have the teacher's retirement plan, the employee state plan, and then you have the law enforcement officers pension system. Based on the state's evaluation, they could choose one of the 3 programs or award us 2 of the programs to enter into. Based on that, the percentages could vary anywhere from 6% to 7%. I believe on the low side, it might be 5%, but that it's been some time since that's been there, but it's usually 6 or 7% on the employer contribution side. And the same thing for the employee.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move to resolution 16, excuse me.
We did. No, well, he wanted to discuss it.
We discussed.
Next, we'll have resolution 16-24. This is a resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding between the town speed camera vendor, Red Speed Maryland LLC, the town of North Brentwood, and the town of Forest Heights pertaining to its police department in order to memorialize the parties' understanding regarding the capture, processing, and issuance of automated speed enforcement camera citations provided of the town of North Brentwood by the town of Forest Heights Police Department. This is introduced by myself, Mayor Lilly. This item is up for discussion. Chief Reese or Mr. Best, could you give us a brief 1-minute overview of resolution 16-24 and its purpose?
Absolutely, I'll be very brief. So in a nutshell, the town of North Brentwood approached, and because they do not have their own sworn police department, with the current legislation, only a sworn officer can approve speed camera citations. And so what the law also allows is for municipalities that do not have their own police department can contract with another, and they can work out a compensation fee to approve that. Obviously, North Brentwood is northern of us, and so right now we propose a $5 system check review of each violation. So per violation that we approve, we would get $5 for as our police officer do it, and processing and going to each hearing appearance will be $50 per occurrence. I believe that this is a positive thing for the police department. It would not cause a hardship on the police department. Our speed camera citation program, currently we have one of the most, I guess, volume wise in high volume in the state. And so we have a speed camera program to where it's that we have officers that will approve it daily. Obviously, North Brentwood would not have that high value.
How many do you,
It will,
is daily for Forest Heights versus projected for North
we
Brentwood?
would, so approval wise, the town, we currently approve about just about 1,000 a day. To where it's that North Brentwood would probably be about maybe 100, if that. So it would probably take us about an hour to do the North Brentwoods.
Thank you, Chief Reese. Mr. Best?
I'd like to add that the Maryland Municipal League just announced that one of the priority pieces of legislation was a bill to allow municipal governments that do not have their own police department to have civilians do the certification on the speed camera citation. However, Brentwood is so small in staff, it still would prefer to enter into this agreement regardless of this change in the law that will take effect October 1st. So I understand it's the bill has passed both houses, will be enrolled soon, become law probably in the fall, but North Brentwood, which is a town of about 400 or 500 people, located straddles like you all a major highway known as Road Avenue. You know, they'd like some help, and they would like to tap in expertise and compensate. Just for the disclosure, I happen to be the town attorney of North Brentwood as well, and so I've reviewed this contract, and I disclosed to both my clients. If there's a problem, please let me know if you feel there's some sort of conflict, but I viewed the contract, but I happen to represent both municipalities.
Is there discussion for resolution 16-20? Council President McDonald.
So having said that, that's the best. Are there any known conflicts have served in this capacity?
Conflicts for me and my clients?
Conflicts for you to serve in both with with what we're talking about in terms of Brentwood asking for support of the town of Forest Heights?
Well, there would be a conflict closed, but since I've disclosed it, I think both are in a position. If you do not want to abide by my disclosure, if you want to hire independent counsel to review the contract, you're welcome to do so. I feel that there's been any issues in terms of conflict of interest for me. I've tried to look at the contract in the interest of both parties. I think it's a money-making venture for the town of Forest Heights. Not a huge moneymaker, but it's somewhat promising in view of fiscal issues that the town has been looking at in the last few months. But again, I'm disclosing. You can seek outside counsel if you'd like, and I can recommend someone to do that if you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. Best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President, Councilmember Brownson.
Yeah, I have a question. You mentioned that the Maryland law, that municipalities can use a civil to do this work, maybe as of October 1st. So if Brentwood do not have a police department, can they use a civilian to do this instead of our police department?
Absolutely, this law would permit it, but my understanding from Mayor Trella Robinson up in North Brentwood and Manager Paul, they don't feel that they have the staff or the expertise, even if the civilians do the work. They would prefer to contract out this activity. Even though they may be asked to do so, they prefer to contract out.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown Best. Are there any other questions for resolution 16-24? All right, next we'll to the next item. Resolution 7-24, and this is a resolution of the mayor of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, continuing the term of appointment of Chief Anthony Reese as interim town administrator while jointly serving as chief of police for the town of Forest Heights Police Department. This is introduced by myself, Mayor Lilly. I move that we adopt resolution 17-24. It has been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 17-24. Discussion.
I have a question. What is the status on the hire for the TA?
Mr. Reese.
Yes, we have a pool of applicants and we are moving views. I believe we'll be able to do interviews within about a week and a half. Present to the council after.
Councilmember Brownson.
Yeah, I have a question about the first whereas. It says, whereas the council accept the resignation of the town administrator, 10/5, 2023, to be effective September 22nd, 2023. When did that happen and who was that? That was like a month, less than a month?
That was Mr. Marcus Jones.
Oh, and who replaced him in September?
There was a vacancy until the chief became the interim town administrator.
We didn't have an administrator from September to December when he. I thought we had, I thought somebody was here. We always have an administrator, right?
Well, Mr. Jones was helping in administrative support part-time, but he wasn't the town administrator at that time.
Who?
Mr. Jones. Is there any other discussion on resolution 17-24? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. We have Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember Browson,
No.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Council President McDonald,
Yes.
Mayor Little, Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
motion passed.
Next, we will have resolution 18-24. This is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Forsyth, Maryland, to approve the employment and appointment of Jermaine Garner as a crewman to serve within the town of Forsyth's Public Works Department. This is introduced by Councilmember Jonathan Kennedy. I move that we adopt resolution 18-24.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 18-24. Discussion. Councilmember Kennedy?
Mr. Gardner. He is here in case, in the past, I know we've wanted to at least meet our potential new hires as opposed to running across them in the street and not knowing that they're actually employees. So he was nice enough to actually show up tonight. So if you can stand up so everybody can. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Garner, if you'd like to address to or speak to the council, you're welcome to do so. Okay. I stay out of the hot seat too. Okay, is there any further on resolution 18-24? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Browson,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Council President McDonald.
Yes.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
motion passed, 6 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. Next, we will have resolution 19-24. This is a resolution to accept local impact grant funding from Prince George's County and to adjust the sums and amounts for the fiscal year annual budget beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024. This is introduced by Councilmember Tanya Hines and Paula Noble. Okay. Just one moment. I move that we amend resolution 19-24. Changing the introduction line to state only Councilmember Tanya Hines. It has been moved and seconded that we amend resolution 19-24, changing the introduction line to include only Councilmember Tanya Hines, striking Councilmember Paula Noble. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The ayes have it. I move that we adopt resolution 19-24.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 19-24 as amended. Is there any discussion? Just to briefly explain, this is a resolution where the town has been awarded funding specifically for the Police Activities League. There is a spring camp that is planned for this year, and then there's a summer camp planned for the summertime. And this resolution is accepting those funds and increasing the line items. There any other discussion for resolution 19-24? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Browson. Browson. Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Council President McDonald,
Yes.
Mayor Lily.
Yes.
Motion passed 6 yes. 0 no, as amended, removing Councilmember Noble from the introduce.
Thank you. Next, we will have ordinance 01-24. This is an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, amending Article 3, Building and Construction Regulations and Codes for Land Use of the Town Ordinance Code to increase the annual fee for rental property licensing, rentals greater than 30 days, to authorize the suspension or revocation of a license, and to adopt a licensing program for short-term rental licensing with requirements, fees, and penalties for violation of same, and generally relating to rental property licensing. This is introduced by myself, Mayor Lily, and Councilmember Brownson. This is the second reading of ordinance number 01-24. Excuse me. I move that we adopt resolution or ordinance number 01-24.
Second. Oh. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 01-24. Discussion. Councilmember Kennedy.
So this is modifying the dollar amounts that we talked about last meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any talks of when we're gonna look at the fees that we currently charge? So that way we can put all of them in line?
Mr. O'Connor.
Currently conducting the research to bring that to the appropriate committee. Once it's vetted through the committee, then we'll go ahead and send it to legal for a preparation and debate amongst the mayor and council. So
Okay.
I want to make sure it's thoroughly vetted before I bring it over.
I can appreciate that. The reason I'm emphasizing this is because right now, if you have a vacant property, you are getting charged more than someone who's actually renting their property.
Yes,
And-
council member. Actually, I did. You had mentioned that actually there was some discussion last meeting about that. I did some research and spoke to one of my colleagues at MML as well as some other municipalities. And the reason they said they actually charge higher fees is because a rental property is producing, it's occupied. However, a vacant, they use the high fee to discourage the vacant property. So that's why they keep the fee high. So that it's pretty much the consensus among most of the municipalities. I understand where you're coming from with it. Just got to give you the feedback that I'm hearing from other governments.
Okay, I'm just asking because we are our own municipality. It's nice to check with others, but we don't have to always follow what they do. And also, if the vacant property is blighted, then that's also another issue.
There's lots of considerations with it. The only reason I checked other municipalities is because on the other fees, it was mentioned to check with other municipalities. So I wanted to make sure I checked that block. If I was asked, I could say I did it and went from there.
I'd also add that from the National League of City Training I recently attended, and I think a couple other council members did as well. It was marked out that a fee is something that should have a structure where it's looking at the effort that it requires an employee to conduct, if it's issuing a permit or if it is inspecting a residence or doing some kind of other activity. So the fee should be based on, or could take into account the number that it takes to do the work and what the compensation employee is. So I just wanted to add that note as well as we look and try to structure the fee. Is there any other discussion on ordinance number 01-24? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Counselor Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Staying.
Councilmember Browson,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember,
Yes.
Mayor Lily.
Yes.
Motion passed, 5 yes, 1 abstain.
Thank you. Next, we'll have ordinance number 02-24. This is an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, modifying and redesignating the third tax classification for residential rental real property situated within the town to become not approved for homestead tax credits, non-principal residence of owner properties. In addition to the existing commercial and non-commercial real property classes that are subject to municipal taxation at the same or different tax rates levied by the town council prior to each fiscal year, along with the approved budget and generally relating to municipal tenant, produced by Brownson. I move that we adopt ordinance 02-24. It has been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 02-24. I noticed there's an et al here. Yeah. Well, I withdraw my motion to adopt. I insert a motion that we ordinance number 02-24, striking the words et al after introduced by Councilor Brownson. Is there a second?
Second.
It has moved and seconded that we amend ordinance number 02-24, striking the words et al after introduced by Councilman Wilson. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Are there any opposed? The ayes have it. That we adopt ordinance 02-24 ended. Is there a second? Had to amend it and we need to, and I withdrew the motion to adopt. Has been moved to adopt ordinance number 4 amended. Roll.
Yes. Councilman Hines.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Abstain.
Councilmember Browse. Councilmember.
Yeah.
Council President.
Abstain.
Motion. You want me to wait?
Mr. Best,
Yes.
I've detected an additional item needs to be amended, and I know we're taking the vote. Could you give me guidance we can do, so that we're able to address the deficiency in the ordinance? The deficiency is that the tax rates here, I believe, are the rates for real property recently found to be incorrect for fiscal year 24.
It expressly states that there's no funding for that. It's just a restatement of the tax rate. It doesn't change the substantive law at one of it. So as with the election, it's harmless error because it states right here. There's two tricks below the property. We see this says it. Except for Senate residential real properties known to be not approved for homestead tax credit. Non-principal residents of owner, real property beginning FY. These rates were established by previous legislation. Are indicated here informational purposes only. Has no tax. You're welcome to change and probably a good idea to.
Yes.
But the substantive, you know.
So with the in the midst of, can I withdraw a motion to adopt and make them the amendment? And
So correct me if I'm wrong. So this is just state class. Each year, we actually have to send into the count what the tax for the class, just creating that third tax bracket.
The third tax classification already exists, just kind of modifying the way it's defined, so it's easier to manage by using the designators in the SDAT database for real property. And these tax rates, again, are just there for illustrative. They change. Substantive is the fact that you're going to name it from rent to not approved for homestead tax credit. That's a select field in the SDAT database, and it makes it more readily discernible how to classify the property because it's already right there in the SDAT database. So if you want to withdraw the motion, if there was no second.
Well, but
voting, there was a second, we were voting.
the point I'm getting to is this, like you said, the numbers doesn't matter because each year we allow
Right.
8%.
Resolution in May, and then you pass that establishes tax rates, and then you approve the budget in June that also ratifies the tax rates. That's the official tax rate, not this ordinance. And you can amend a second motion, basic motion to approve this piece of legislation by just through the process of entertaining an amendment with its own motion, its own second, and its own vote. You can amend it that way. No, the amendment takes priority over the basic motion.
Okay. In ordinance number 02-24, updating under 1. Do we have fiscal year 24 correct tax rates? Is Mr. Franklin?
Yeah, Mayor, I have it in front of me. So rented residential is 0.4654.
Okay, so we need is, give me real properties, sir.
Both are 0.4654. So non-commercial and rented residential are 0.4654.
Point 465. And for commercial,
0.5313.
okay. And let's see. Non-principal residence. Principal residence. So 654.
The feed's a little choppy tonight, but yes, principal residence is 0.4654.
Sorry, I'm specific principal residence. Is it this? Point 46 for residential property, 0.654.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we amend ordinance 04 under section 1 in property classifications, changing the tax for IA commercial to 0.13, non-commercial property to 0.4654, and rented residential property C to 0.654. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The ayes have it. I move that we adopt ordinance 024 as amended.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt for 024 as amended. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
We have Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
And
Councilmember Browson,
Yes.
Council,
Yes.
Council President McDonald, Mayor Lily,
Yes.
motion pass. 4 yes, 2 no's as amended.
That concludes legislation for this evening. Second public period. At this time, is there anyone or online who wishes to speak during public period? If you choose to do so, you'll have 2 minutes. Is there anyone online who wishes to speak during this time? Public period is now closed. At this time, we'll have council member and mayor's reports. We'll begin with Ward 1. Council President McDonald.
Good evening, everyone. So I have a few items to share. The Green Team met on February the 24th and on March the 17th, is it? Did I get it right? March the 16th. We had a very nice event at the community garden. Denny House came out along with some of our team here at Forest Heights, Mr. O'Connor, Miss Cooney, Miss Clark, Councilwoman Little, Councilwoman Brownson, and with a very nice turnout. I was so impressed. Youth who came to help till the ground, the barrels with soil, and their intention, what they did and the work that they put in was very impressionable to me. Thankful for their hard work and efforts. We are in the process, I say we, the Green in the town of Forest Heights, we are in the process of submitting resolution that will state our intent to pursue sustainable Marylandification and to become a sustainable community. And Madam Clerk as well for all of your effort. Also, let's see. The Finance Committee met to discuss internal controls again and the budget deficit and ways we can and reduce spending. We will have to unfortunately reschedule our meeting that's scheduled for so a date to be determined, and at that meeting we will view the budget for year 25. Also, we will be meeting, we were going to meet again this Saturday at the community garden, but I believe it's going to be raining, but we're just going to meet here in the community municipal building. So please come 10:00 a.m. to meet with us to discuss our updates and what we plan to move forward with the green and all of our green projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Councilmember Little.
Good evening. Over the weekend, 16th, we had a youth future flow vision event. We had a good time getting, working on our vision boards and our plans for the rest of this year. Would like to have a better outcome at our next event. So we're working on ways of improving that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Little. Next we'll move to Ward 2, and I'll start with Councilmember Kennedy.
Mentioned the spring and summer youth that are going on. Volunteers are still needed for the diff days. So I'm sure if you reach out to the chief, more than happy to let you know the times and days.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Councilmember Brownson.
Like Don mentioned, committee in the cleaning up of the garden, and I do want to especially thank to Ms. Kim and Ms. Kathy for their hard work and their vision on how the garden should be improved. So I want to thank Mr. O'Connor and Danny short notice, and they did another job. It's a great opportunity for the town to be able to do that. And hopefully that we can use them for our training. Also, I know that one of the things that Wayne Committee had discussed before, and I failed to get the status of before. I'm going to annex something. I was wondering if you have thought about that again, and if so, where are we with that? Trying to guess.
I heard Annex 210.
Yes.
Can you elaborate again?
Uh,
Mr. O'Connor. Number of annexations and at the ground level.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it got thrown to him because everybody thinks it's illegal already. I was. Currently, P. Johnson and Associates has all the documentation that they need from the previous annexations to complete the map. I anticipate end of April, May, to have the bounds in hand to send to legal to draft up for all the documentation, which would mean by July, August, probably likely be within the jurisdiction. If all goes smooth.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Hines.
Good evening. I'd like to piggyback off of what Councilman Kennedy said about the spring camp that's going to be starting on the 25th, which is on Monday. I know we need volunteers. I'm not sure of the time. Chief Reese, can I get the time that it starts?
The spring break camp is March 25th through the 30th. It's from 9 to 3 daily,
9 to 3, okay.
and it's for ages 7 to 14.
7, 14.
Say it again, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes,
What was the ages again?
7 to 14.
Thank you, Chief Reese. Also, with that being in mind, I went up to the farm today and their spring events that are happening. They'd really like to partnership with us, but I brought back some literature on some of the things that they do, and they're looking forward to if we can get up there with our children. So go to the farm, they have all sorts of different things for the kids to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hines. There was one more question on the annexation of additional parts of 210. Where would the new boundary be, just for illustrative purposes?
We were just discussing that. So it'll be Highway 210, starting at the current jurisdictional boundary on 210, going down to Livingston, the other Livingston Road at the overpass. So if you're heading south, you go down to Livingston Road and I believe Old Kirby southbound side, Livingston on the bound side. It would take the service roads, all of 210 down and southbound. It would then cut Livingston Road at the overpass by Kirby and Livingston up towards the firehouse, would terminate at the firehouse. We would then pick up, there's a church property over there as well as a school on Livingston Road that tucks back, abuts Highway 210. It's quite a large swath of roadway. Additionally, on the Kirby Hill side, go out a quarter of a mile off where the state and county own the land on those sides. So that would be the new jurisdictional area. If you're familiar where the county has some cameras on Livingston Road near the house, if anybody's familiar, that's right in the area there, where just a little bit north of there is where it terminates. Picking up the firehouse, likely the tax exempt church property, and the school that's in that area, and there's a career center. There's also a parcel of property located off Oxon Hill Road, which is not a part of this annexation, a separate annexation because it's smaller. but it is is a school, but it's actually a career center now. So that was not brought in one of the previous annexations, but it will be brought in. And there, unlike some of these other properties that are tax exempt, this hold a tax exempt classification. However, there's business personal property tax that would be accessible by the
Okay, and this is the building that is just south of Tanger Outlets.
yes, Mayor.
MGM Career Center.
It
Okay.
is.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just want to thank council members for the activities that have been going on in the community. We heard that there was things involving youth, involving the garden, and it's coming up involving the spring camp. Also congratulate those who were newly elected or newly re-elected to the council. Coming up this week, I had a conversation recently with our lobbyist Greenwell, and they're still working with our state senate delegates, sites, gaming, and local impact. We'll get an email with. There's been some amendments to the original bill that they submitted. Ask for the source, and we're getting close. Bills need to leave House and the state Senate and go into the other chambers. So we'll know pretty soon if the bills are likely to be approved and to be signed into law. If they are, it'll bring substantial funding down. We're hoping at least $500,000 per year that would be recurring revenue. From National Park Service that the Oxon Hill farm that next to run near Bell Acres Park on the west side of town is going paving about 1.5 miles of trailway, installing a new pedestrian bridge, which we installed by the end of June, and the paving of the new trail should be done by the end of summer. We're looking to have them come present and give the town an update about the progress and building that connection reestablish so we can ride or even if they're have limited mobility, still use the town. This is National Park Service. Lastly, the town is still gearing up for celebrating our centenary next month. On April 19th, April 20th, and April 21st, those for resident enjoying to take part of the April 19th, the actual 75th anniversary incorporation day. That'll be in the gathering space from 6 to 8 p.m. That's a free event. On Saturday, April 24th, 2 to 5 we'll have a municipal building. So this room will host casual reunion celebration for those who live here and who have lived here. Residents are going to come out and invite members who used to live in town so we can reunite. And then on Sunday, April 21st, we're having a gala, Riverside Hotel, and then newsletter and posted on social media. We'll also website. The ticket price council work to keep it as low as possible. And we've also partnered with several sponsors busy to raise funds. And so far we've raised $22,000 from sponsors to help support the cost of all 3 events that weekend. This is in light of the fact that we are facing lower anticipated sound. We expect to collect several $1,000s more donations in week. And one other thing I wanted to mention is as part of gathering donations, partnerships with the town, briefly, National Harbors Management, and they are interested in partnering with the town's landscaping and other things that will help the community up here to be cleaner and more reflective of how we feel about our town. I know we love Forest Heights and we want other people to see the love that we have when they come in. And that's all I have for now. Are there any items for new business this evening? Mr. Best, one question, in light of the fact that we weren't able to swear Councilmember Noble in tonight, is there anything that we need to do, regarding at this meeting or at the next meeting?
I'll double check the charter, but I think you have some time before you have to declare the, and because if it does result in a vacancy, it will result in a special election to fill the vacancy, which will be costly to the town. So it's tantamount to simply resigning from office, I think, so.
Is it possible for us to look up now to see the timeline is? Does anyone have access to the charter so we can just be aware of you got it,
In terms of
when the vacancy is created?
I think you mean when you have an election versus an appointment? It's
Yes.
15 months. 15 months is the cutoff.
Before a special, the council pass a resolution to declare the vacancy, correct?
Declare vacancy and set the election date.
Okay.
And that doesn't have to be, I don't think you're gonna find anything expressly in the charter on that. So let me take a look at that and get back to you on that. A common sense. That's a common law.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Best.
I had one question. Yes, is there any opportunity to approach for reconsideration?
To approach.
Yes.
Absolutely, I would. She be approached and asked to reconsider. If there's proof needed, and that I can actually print out this law as, and I can highlight where it's the holdings are indicated in the case of Springfield, Maryland, that the mobile requirements are directory, not mandatory, and I can answer any questions further. I prepared a memorandum of law on this. I suspect she maybe saw the memorandum of law and read it. But you know, there's a lot, as a lawyer, there's a lot of circumstances where the law is gray. It's very meticulously driven to try to find the answer in the common law. But this answer is fairly clear, common law. That the results of the election should not be disturbed, and nor would a court do that. So I hope that she, if she really wants to serve another term, I hope she'll reconsider so that they're not going to avoid several hundreds or thousands of dollars for a special election.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Sure. If there's no further business, the time 9:45 and this meeting is adjourned.